If you're a healthcare professional in private practice and you want to grow into a 7-figure private business, you're in the right place. I will give you the system that worked for me and which you can take away and implement to double your private practice profit in 12 weeks. It's the system I learned from the business school of hard knocks of life. I started private practice in 1995. After 7 years in private practice, I opened a private clinic, and 6 years after that I went all in and left the NHS to become a full-time clinic owner, primarily treating people with vein issues. I employed staff. I registered with the Care Quality Commission. The clinic became a designated body with the General Medical Council. I became a responsible officer, and the clinic grew and became successful. And here is what was going on around this time. Facebook started in 2004, YouTube in 2005, the first iPhone in 2007, Instagram in 2010. And there is something else that happened in 2008 when I went all in running a private vein clinic. The global financial crisis. Remember that? People were losing their jobs. Businesses were going bust. And banks weren't lending and were being propped up by governments. I had to learn the skills to run a business. It wasn't enough to provide a great product or service. To survive and compete, I had to become business savvy and fast. I was surrounded by sharks. The private wing of the NHS hospital 7 miles away. The NHS hospital I resigned from. A BMI hospital 18 miles to the south, a Nuffield hospital 25 miles west, plus centres of excellence in Bristol, Bath and Exeter, with more professors than I could poke a stick at. I learnt those skills and we continued to grow, charging our patients more than anyone else locally. I learnt about revenue, gross profit, net profit, overheads, cash flow. Over time, up until 2020, my clinic flourished and evolved into a 7-figure business. Every year until 2020 and the COVID lockdown, profits grew. And in fact, even in the period 2020 to 2022, profits remained healthy. Now I've mentioned profits. Let's remind ourselves the purpose of any business is to provide a service or product and to make a profit. Private practice and private clinics are no different. Those of you in private practice have your own reasons for entering private practice, and mine were independence and freedom. Independence from an employer and from a private hospital which would grant me practice privileges, and freedom to practice phlebology as I thought best. Still, to work, the clinic had to run as a business, providing a service and making a profit. Those of us in private medical practice, what do we have to do? There are 5 components of any business, and for success they all need to run efficiently. Let's look at them in turn. Content creation. This is everything your potential patient sees, hears, reads and watches about you and your service. In the good old days, this principally meant printed brochures, leaflets and a website. Before anyone books to see you, they're going to look at your website, no matter how they found out about you. So your website needs to be well designed and with content that resonates with the sorts of people you treat. Marketing is the distribution of that content to your potential audience, so people get to know about you. Here is how things have changed. When I first started, I put adverts into newspapers. I did leaflet drops and held open events where I would talk to a live audience in person. These methods were extremely expensive. I had to hire an agency to design the ad or leaflet. Paper advertising cost £1,000 to £2,000 per event, and the leaflet drops were delivered by Royal Mail and would cost about £18,000. They were effective. Total costs for an open event might be £20,000 and it would generate £75,000 in revenue. Social media has changed all of that. In 2016, Facebook ads would cost me approximately £6,000 and they would generate the same sort of revenue. I found that regularly posting on YouTube, Facebook and on my blog, plus regular email newsletters were my most effective methods of content distribution, and that video content worked best to build authority so that my audience would come to know, like and trust me. And here's the thing. These forms of content creation and distribution are pretty much free. We all have phones with us all the time, and these have powerful video cameras that can take better videos quicker and more easily than the equipment I first used when I started. Recently, I have taken to producing video content on the fly when I have a few minutes. It's inexpensive, and apps can convert this into video content, into shorts or reels with captions for direct upload to YouTube, Facebook or Instagram. Not only is this free content distribution, but with shorts and reels we can do rapid market research. If a video gets no views, it's telling us something. It's a really cheap way to tell us what is and what isn't of interest to our audience, and we can quickly iterate and double down on what is working and do less of what doesn't. And if we want to do an ad campaign, we already have a good idea of the sort of ad that would work best. Today we have wonderful ways of producing content and distributing it to our audience, a group of people who have the condition we treat and who might be interested in our service. And these social media platforms have algorithms that ensure our content reaches the right audience. How good is that? Once we have an audience, we aim to convert these people into leads. Leads are people who are interested and who have given us their names and a way of contacting them, usually email, sometimes also a telephone number. Once we have generated leads, we want them to buy. We want them to convert into sales. Now, if we've done a good job at connecting and getting them to know, like and trust us, most people will pick up the phone to buy. In my opinion, 80% of leads who call us to exchange their details will convert on the same call. Let's talk about operations. This is also called service delivery. Most healthcare professionals work hard on their professional knowledge and skills. What I'm talking about here is the operational systems such as finances, profitability, CQC registration and compliance, quality assurance, governance, and IT. From an operational point of view, my main focus was on profits, and I employed a manager to take care of the rest. Customer support is making sure that customer retention is high and that referrals by word of mouth are encouraged. For a quick overview and a summary, let me say this. All the 5 elements of our private practice must work. These are content creation, marketing, sales, operations, and customer support. And here's a thought. To have an excellent business, you just need to make sure that all 5 elements are good enough. This is called skill stacking. The elements don't just add, they actually multiply. Having all 5, and even just being average in all 5, will get us ahead of most others. I regularly spy on my competitors. 2 of the elements I see lacking in most clinics are video content creation and great customer support. Video content is the fastest and most effective way of attracting leads and gaining the know, like and trust that shortens the sales process. Good customer support will improve customer retention and get us more referrals. That is, leads. Imagine if we could retain all our vein patients and all our aesthetic patients forever, generating profits forever. And imagine if all our patients referred more of their friends and family to us. How good would that be? So now we know the blueprint for private practice success. What's holding us back? Well, in my opinion, doctors and nurses in private practice have two major issues preventing them from succeeding. I know because I had these two when I first started out. The first was easy to fix, but even now, I still work in this area. The second is more difficult and creeps back even now. So what are they? One is the right skill set. I've banged on about the 5 essential skills: content creation, marketing, sales, operations, and customer support. Don't be fooled. These are not character traits or natural talents. These can be learnt and then developed by practice. I continue to attend courses and practice them regularly. The second is limiting beliefs. That little voice in your ear, I don't have enough time. I don't deserve that level of success. I can't charge as much as that. Healthcare professionals shouldn't be interested in money. On and on and on, that little voice whispers to us regularly. Limiting beliefs, they're more insidious and much more difficult to deal with. It involves a lot of self-awareness. In my opinion, the best way to overcome limiting beliefs is to work with a trusted colleague who can metaphorically hold your hand while you learn the skills and implement them. This is what I want you to take away. If you're ambitious and prepared to work an extra 16 hours per week, you can definitely double your private practice profit in 6 months as a minimum. You could probably make even more. You could transition to full-time private practice and ditch the NHS. You could gain freedom and independence.